Well, good morning on this little brisk morning. This gospel this morning is one that touches all of us sometimes. And I'm doing some research for this gospel, and I came across someone's name, and maybe you haven't heard it in a while. His name was Dr. Albert Schweitzer. Did he even teach about Dr. Albert Schweitzer? No. You know, Dr. Schweitzer, 17 different nations voted him as the man of the century. Not of the year, but of the century. He was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize. He has been acclaimed world over as a multiple genius. He was an outstanding philosopher, a reputable theologian, a respected historian, a concert soloist, and what we all remember him of, if we can, as a missionary doctor. But the remarkable thing about him was his deep Christian faith. It was a faith that influenced even the smallest details of his life. See, at age 21, he promised himself that he would enjoy art and science until he was 30 years old. And then he would devote the rest of his life working among the needy in some sort of direct form of service. So on his 30th birthday, he dropped several letters in the Paris mailbox. You see, they were to his parents and closest friends, informing him that he was going to enroll in university to get a degree in medicine. And after that, he was going to Africa to work among the poor as a missionary doctor. Well, the letter created an immediate stir between him and his family and friends, questioning wasting all this talent that he had. But at age 38, he became a full-fledged doctor. And at 43, he left for Africa, where he opened a hospital at the edge of the jungle, in which was then called Equatorial Africa. And he died there at age 90. Well, that's a little bit about Dr. Schweitzer. But what motivated him? What turned his back to worldly fame and wealth and worked among the poor, the poorest in Africa? And why am I even talking about him today? You know? Well, the thing that impressed me was he said that one of the things that influenced in his life was his meditation on today's gospel. Today's gospel, that gospel written over 2,000 years ago, the same gospel you and I listen to today, he listened to. And it was about that rich man and Lazarus. He said it struck him as incomprehensible that I should be allowed to live such a happy life when so many people around me are dealing with so much suffering. And that brings us to the gospel story today. Let's talk about that rich man. The sin of the rich man was simply that he never noticed Lazarus. He accepted him as part of the landscape where he lived. The sin of the rich man was he accepted without question the fact that Lazarus was poor and he himself was rich. The sin of the rich man was his own personal wealth and not lifting a finger to help Lazarus in his dire need. And that sin of the rich man was the same sin that sometimes is committed all over the world sometimes. It's the sin that's beginning to cause grave concern, not only because of what it's doing to the poor, but because what sometimes it does to society. In other words, our lack of concern for the poor destroys not only the poor, but also the very, very moral fabric of our society. Now, I know you all give generously. I know you are very generous people. You give to the poor, you give to the needy, you're so supportive here to the parish in all the different drives. But you know, sometimes the gospel, because sometimes there's a word, we kept getting hit. Keep getting those mailers in the mail, those envelopes looking for something. Sometimes we get discouraged. And sometimes we need a little pep talk and sort of learn about somebody like Dr. Schweitzer, what he did and what happened and what he did with his life. But there was one other thing I'd like to quote to you. It's from who's now St. Pope John Paul II. During his visit to the United States, in his homily at Yankee Stadium in New York, that was before Judge was trying to make all those home runs, I hope he does. The Holy Father said, it's very strong, we cannot sit idly by enjoying our own riches and freedom. Riches and freedom. If in any place the Lazaruses, which would be of the 21st century now, stands at our doors, the light of the parable of Lazarus and the rich man, the rich and freedom means a special responsibility for all of us. Riches and freedom creates a special obligation. And so in the name of solidarity that binds us together in common humanity, I again proclaim the dignity of every human person. The rich man and Lazarus are both human beings, both of them equally created in the image and likeness of God. Both of them equally redeemed by Christ at a great price, the price of the crucifixion. And thank you for all your generosity. God bless you.